The map of our world is about to change. And I'm not talking about China breaching boundaries. I'm talking about the continent of Africa splitting into two.
Deep in the Afar region of Eastern Africa, a cataclysmic phenomenon is unfolding, threatening to split Africa into two. Sounds wild, right? This isn't just any geological phenomenon. It's one of the most complex and mysterious tectonic events ever recorded. The ground is cracking apart, magma is surging to the surface, and entire landscapes are being reshaped before our eyes. Scientists are racing against time to understand what is causing this unprecedented event, but the more they learn, the more questions arise. Could we be witnessing the birth of a new ocean basin? Or is something even more extraordinary at play? Let's dig in to find out more. Africa's impending split, a new ocean in the making. At this very moment, a literal earth-shattering discovery has captivated geologists, seismologists, and even climate scientists as they scramble to understand the forces causing this unprecedented phenomenon. As it is, Africa is in danger of splitting in two and forming a new ocean due to a huge rift valley tearing through the continent. Speaking of valleys, the East African Rift Valley is the main site of this tectonic drama. This valley stretches over 6,000 kilometers from the Red Sea down to Mozambique. At its northern end, in the Afar region of Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Djibouti, the Earth's crust is thinning at an alarming rate. Satellite imagery shows massive fissures opening up in the desert, some spanning several kilometers in length. Scientists are puzzled as to why this is happening so rapidly and what it could mean for the future of the African continent. But one thing is certain. This phenomenon is unlike anything seen in modern times. Not since the breakup of ancient supercontinents have we witnessed tectonic forces of this magnitude. The complex tectonics of Eastern Africa. To understand the mystery behind Africa's new ocean, we must first delve into the complex tectonics of the region. The Afar region sits at the intersection of three massive tectonic plates, the Nubian, Somali, and Arabian. This is one of the few places on Earth where a continental rift is actively pulling a continent apart. For over 30 million years, the Somali plate has been peeling away from the rest of Africa, creating the vast East African Rift Valley. This rift stretches from the Red Sea to Mozambique, marked by towering volcanic mountains, deep valleys, and long chains of lakes. At the northern end of this rift, in the Afar region, the Earth's crust is exceptionally thin, less than 20 kilometers thick compared to the global continental average of 35 kilometers. This thinning is causing the land to sink and crack, forming massive fissures that are growing at an unprecedented rate. Satellite images reveal gaping chasms snaking across the desert floor, some wide enough to swallow entire villages. It's as if Africa is being ripped apart at the seams. The reason for this dramatic rifting lies deep beneath the surface. Scientists believe a massive mantle plume, a giant upwelling of hot, molten rock, pushes beneath the Afar region, causing the crust to stretch and split. This same type of mantle plume once tore apart the ancient supercontinent of Pangaea, giving birth to the Atlantic Ocean. Could history be repeating itself in Africa? The Afar region is also home to a unique geological feature known as a triple junction, where three tectonic plate boundaries meet. The Great Rift Valley extends south into Africa, the Red Sea Rift stretches northwest, and the Gulf of Aden Rift heads east towards the Arabian Peninsula. These boundaries are spreading at rates of up to 1.5 centimeters per year, making the Afar region one of the most tectonically active places on the planet. But while the forces driving this rift are understood, the speed and scale of the changes are baffling scientists. Normally, continental rifts take tens of millions of years to evolve, but in Afar, the process seems to be accelerating. What could be speeding up this tectonic clock? One theory suggests that the mantle plume beneath Afar is unusually hot and buoyant, driving more vigorous rifting. Another possibility is that the complex interaction between the three tectonic plates creates a unique stress field, accelerating the rifting process. But no one is 100% certain. The region is a geological enigma, defying conventional tectonic models and challenging our understanding of how continents break apart. The role of Erta Ale. a volcano unlike any other. At the heart of this tectonic chaos lies one of the most extraordinary volcanoes on Earth, Al. Known as the Gateway to Hell, Al is a massive basaltic shield volcano in northern Ethiopia, standing over 600 meters tall and spanning nearly 100 kilometers. It's one of the world's few continuously erupting volcanoes, with a lava lake active for over a century. This lava lake, one of only 2 on the planet, provides a rare window into the forces shaping the African rift. Situated in the Afar region of Ethiopia, Al plays a pivotal role in a remarkable geological process that could reshape the future of Earth's continents. It is the focal point of the Afar Triple Junction, where 3 tectonic plates, the Nubian, Somali, and Arabian, meet and are slowly tearing apart. In this setting, Al is not merely a volcano, but a living laboratory, providing scientists with a front row seat to the early stages of ocean formation. Unlike most volcanoes, which are formed by the collision of tectonic plates, Al sits above a hotspot in the Earth's mantle, where magma continually rises to the surface. This constant upwelling of molten rock fuels the volcano's perpetual eruptions, feeding its famous lava lake, which has been active for decades. The location of Al, at the intersection of 3 diverging plates, is crucial to understanding the tectonic forces at work in the Afar region. This unique placement in a rift zone, where the plates are slowly moving apart, makes Al one of Earth's most active and fascinating volcanoes. The lava lake itself is a direct manifestation of these tectonic forces, constantly replenished by magma from deep within the Earth. As a result, Al has become a symbol of the ongoing geological transformation that is gradually splitting the African continent. The significance of Al goes beyond its active eruptions. It lies at the heart of a tectonic process that could one day create a new ocean. The Afar Triple Junction, where Al is located, is one of the few places on Earth where continental rifting is happening at an observable scale. As the Somali and Nubian plates slowly drift apart, the land in between is thinning and cracking, and Al's eruptions are helping to shape the region's future. Al's eruptions add new layers of basalt to the thinning crust, a process that is helping to build the early stages of what may eventually become an ocean floor. As the crust continues to stretch and fracture, the region is slowly sinking, forming what could eventually become a rift valley. Seawater could flood this rift in millions of years, creating a new ocean basin. While this transformation is occurring incredibly slowly, the signs are clear. The ground around Al stretches, fault lines are widening, and volcanic activity is intensifying. Geologists refer to this process as a rift-to-ridge transition, where a continental rift, like the one beneath Al, slowly evolves into a mid-ocean ridge, a fundamental feature of ocean floor formation. Al's lava lake is a continuous source of volcanic activity and one of the few permanent lava lakes in the world. Its constant eruptions and lava circulation serve as geological indicators of the underlying processes at work in the region. The persistent magma activity is both a symptom and a catalyst for the tectonic forces driving the rift. Without Al's eruptions, the landscape around the volcano would be vastly different, and the visible evidence of the rifting process would be much harder to study. Al also serves as an active participant in the transformation of the Earth's surface. As the volcano erupts, it reinforces the thinning of the continental crust, contributing to the formation of new geological structures. The volcanic flows gradually create new layers of basalt, which build up the future oceanic crust. This process is taking place at an extraordinary pace, allowing scientists to study the evolution of ocean formation in real time. Al's role in transforming the African continent is profound. The Afar region is one of the few places on Earth where a new ocean could form, and Al sits at the center of this tectonic upheaval. As the Somali plate and Nubian plate drift apart, the land between them slowly pulls apart and begins to sink. Eventually, seawater will flood the rift, and a new ocean will emerge in this once desolate desert. Christopher Moore, a PhD candidate at the University of Leeds, has been studying Erta Ale's magma storage system. His research suggests that the volcano behaves more like a mid-ocean ridge than a typical rift volcano. Beneath its summit lies a series of stacked magma chambers, just a few kilometers below the surface. This shallow magma storage is strikingly similar to what scientists observe at fast-spreading mid-ocean ridges, like the East Pacific Rise. In January 2017, Erta Ale erupted violently, sending rivers of lava cascading down its slopes. Using satellite data, Moore discovered that magma was moving from the summit to a fissure on the volcano's southwestern slopes, draining the lava lake in the process. This rapid movement of magma and the symmetrical deformation of the ground suggested that Erta Ale was behaving like an oceanic spreading center. But if Erta Ale mimics a mid-ocean ridge, does that mean Africa's new ocean is already forming? Not quite. Despite the similarities, the composition of Erta Ale's lava reveals a different story.
Lava that we see here and the high temperatures that we see.
The basalt erupting from the volcano is rich in silica, indicating that the Afar mantle plume is still influencing it. This suggests that while the region is undergoing advanced continental rifting, it hasn't yet transitioned to true oceanic spreading. Tyrone Rooney, a geologist at Michigan State University, argues that Erta Ale is in a transitional phase. It looks like a mid-ocean ridge, but it's not producing oceanic crust. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, is it a duck? Maybe not, Rooney explains. The region shows all the signs of an emerging ocean basin, but it hasn't fully crossed that threshold. Magma intrusions and the growing rift. The Afar region is not only experiencing surface cracking. Beneath the ground, vast magma intrusions are actively pushing the land apart. These intrusions are known as dike swarms, massive sheets of magma that inject into the Earth's crust, prying it open like a hydraulic jack. These dikes can be tens of kilometers long and several meters wide.
The ongoing transformation of East Africa serves as a stark reminder of the planet's ever-changing nature,
forming underground magma highways that feed the region's many volcanoes. One of the most dramatic examples of this occurred in 2005, when a series of powerful earthquakes shook the Afar region. Within days, a massive dike intrusion ripped through the desert, opening a 60-kilometer-long fissure in the ground. Satellite measurements revealed that the land had moved up to 8 meters apart, a staggering displacement for a continental rift. This event was accompanied by the eruption of the Dabahu volcano, which released a plume of ash and gas visible from space. Geophysicists were stunned by the scale and speed of the rifting. Normally, tectonic plates move at rates of a few millimeters per year, but in Afar, the land was torn apart at centimeters per day. This unprecedented rapid deformation made scientists question whether the region was on the brink of a catastrophic continental breakup. Further analysis revealed that the 2005 dike intrusion wasn't an isolated event. It was just one in a series of 14 dike intrusions that occurred between 2005 and 2010, collectively shifting the land by over 8 meters. This rapid succession of dike intrusions accelerates the rifting process, effectively speeding up the formation of the new ocean basin. But why is this happening so quickly? Seismologists believe the mantle plume beneath Afar is unusually active, generating massive volumes of magma injected into the rift. This is causing the crust to stretch and thin at a rate far faster than typical continental rifts. Some scientists speculate that the Afar plume may even be a remnant of the ancient superplume that tore apart the supercontinent of Gondwana 180 million years ago. If true, this would mean that the forces driving Africa's new ocean are part of an ancient cycle of continental breakup and ocean formation. Yet, this rapid rifting is not without consequences. As the land tears apart, it triggers powerful earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and surface collapses. Fissures that swallow buildings and roads have destroyed entire villages. In 2009, a massive crack opened up near the village of Dalol, forcing hundreds of people to evacuate. The ground in Afar is falling away, and there's no telling when it will stop. The timeline. How long until Africa splits? So, how long will it take for this new ocean to form? Geologists estimate that the African continent will continue to tear apart over the next 5 to 10 million years, eventually creating a new ocean basin, where the East African Rift Valley now stands. As the rift widens, the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden will flood into the gap, forming a narrow ocean separating the Somali Plate from the Nubian Plate. This new ocean will be a continuation of the Indian Ocean, gradually expanding as the rift continues to pull apart. Eventually, the land currently occupied by Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania will become a giant island, much like Madagascar, drifting away from the rest of Africa. Over tens of millions of years, the ocean will widen, transforming East Africa into a sprawling archipelago. But this process won't be smooth or steady. It will be marked by violent earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and massive landslides as the continent continues to deform. The land will sink as the crust stretches and thins, forming deep basins that will eventually fill with seawater. Entire ecosystems will be transformed, and new coastlines will emerge as the ocean encroaches on the land. Some scientists suggest that the rifting in the Afar region could represent the early stages of ocean formation. The Afar region is currently below sea level, separated from the Red Sea by a narrow ridge of land. If the rifting continues at its current pace, seawater could flood into the region within the next few million years, creating a shallow sea that will eventually expand into a full-fledged ocean. However, predicting the exact timeline is challenging. Continental rifting is a complex and chaotic process, influenced by many geological factors. The speed of the rifting could accelerate if the mantle plume beneath Afar becomes more active, or it could slow down if tectonic stresses are redistributed along other fault lines. Some researchers speculate that a significant seismic event could accelerate rifting, potentially allowing seawater to enter the region more rapidly, though the exact timeline remains uncertain. No one knows when the new ocean will form, but one thing is certain: the African continent will never be the same. Climate and environmental impacts. A new world emerging. The formation of a new ocean in the Afar region is not just a geological marvel, it will have far-reaching consequences for climate and ecosystems. As the tectonic forces continue to split the African continent, a massive inland sea will eventually take shape in the rift. This gradual transformation will not only alter the physical landscape, but also significantly influence weather patterns, ecosystems, and human livelihoods, creating a new world where none existed before. The impacts will be multifaceted, spanning from the local to the global scale and reshaping the way we understand climate and ecological systems. The formation of an inland sea in the Afar Rift will have immediate and dramatic impacts on the climate of the surrounding regions. If the rifting process continues and seawater eventually enters, it could introduce a body of water into an area that is currently arid. The influx of this seawater will elevate local humidity levels and increase the rate of precipitation, potentially transforming the harsh, dry landscapes of the Afar region into lush, tropical coastal plains over time. This shift will directly affect the atmospheric conditions in nearby regions, especially the Horn of Africa, altering the climate dynamics and potentially leading to a more temperate environment along the newly created coastlines. However, the effects will not be confined to the immediate area. A new ocean in the Afar region could alter global weather systems by influencing the ocean currents that govern climate patterns around the world. Some scientists hypothesize that the formation of this ocean could influence regional ocean currents, which might have downstream effects on climate patterns, including monsoon systems in Asia. The interaction between these altered currents and the Indian Ocean could shift precipitation patterns over vast areas, including East Africa and parts of the Arabian Peninsula. Additionally, the rising waters could have a ripple effect on the thermohaline circulation, the global conveyor belt that drives ocean currents and regulates climate. This change could lead to significant disruptions in oceanic heat distribution, potentially influencing weather patterns as far away as Europe and North America. Over geological timescales, the formation of this ocean could contribute to sea level changes, though its impact relative to climate change-driven sea level rise is uncertain. As the Earth's natural processes unfold, water will flood into the Rift Valley, further exacerbating the already rising global sea levels caused by climate change. While the contribution of this newly formed ocean may not be immediate, the long-term rise in sea levels will undoubtedly have wide-reaching implications. Coastal flooding could become more prevalent, threatening vulnerable, low-lying areas and cities across the globe, particularly in regions like Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands, which are already battling the effects of climate-induced sea level rise. One of the most striking aspects of this new ocean's formation will be the profound changes to the region's ecosystems. The East African Rift Valley, which includes the Afar region, is one of the world's most biodiverse and ecologically unique areas. Home to a wide variety of endemic species, the region supports ecosystems unlike any found elsewhere on Earth. The flora and fauna of the Afar Desert are specially adapted to survive in extreme conditions. But as the sea begins to infiltrate the land, these ecosystems will be forever altered. The encroachment of seawater will dramatically shift the ecological balance in the region. Freshwater lakes, salt flats, and desert habitats will be replaced by coastal ecosystems that are more typical of marine environments. Many of the endemic species that have evolved in the dry conditions of the Afar region could face extinction as their habitats disappear under the rising waters. Terrestrial species that rely on arid environments will struggle to survive, and the land-based ecosystems that have flourished for millennia will vanish, replaced by saline environments better suited to marine life. On the other hand, the new ocean will create opportunities for new marine ecosystems to flourish. As the water from the Indian Ocean pours into the Rift Valley, it will bring with it marine life that will populate the new sea. The waters will become home to fish species, marine mammals, and invertebrates that are currently foreign to the region. Over time, the formation of this new ocean will likely lead to the development of entirely new marine habitats. In the long run, this could result in the evolution of new species that are uniquely adapted to the environmental conditions of the East African Rift Ocean. In addition to marine life, the expanding ocean will likely contribute to the formation of new coral reefs, which could thrive in the region's nutrient-rich waters. Coral reefs are crucial in supporting marine biodiversity and providing resources for local fishing communities. As these reefs establish themselves in the newly formed ocean, they could become an important economic and ecological resource for the surrounding areas. The transformation of the Afar region from a desert to a coastal environment will also have significant implications for local agriculture and freshwater resources. Currently, the Afar region relies heavily on its limited freshwater supplies from underground aquifers and a few rivers. But as seawater begins to flood the region, these sources could become contaminated with salt water. This could render many areas unsuitable for farming and livestock, which are vital to the livelihoods of the local population. The encroachment of saline water could further exacerbate the already challenging conditions farmers face in the region, making it even more difficult to grow crops and raise livestock. Furthermore, the influx of seawater will impact freshwater ecosystems, potentially altering the chemical composition of rivers and lakes. This could reduce the availability of clean water for drinking, irrigation, and sanitation, affecting millions of people in the surrounding areas. If these challenges are not mitigated, the displacement of local populations could become an unavoidable consequence, with entire communities forced to relocate as the expanding ocean swallows their homes. The flooding of the Afar Rift will have far-reaching social and cultural consequences. The communities living along the rift, especially in countries like Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Djibouti, will face significant challenges as their land disappears beneath the waves. Coastal cities, once thriving centers of commerce and culture, could be inundated, and entire villages might be abandoned. Historical and archaeological sites, some thousands of years old, could be lost to the sea, erasing important cultural heritage in the process. The displacement of populations could lead to mass migration as people are forced to find new homes in less vulnerable regions. This could result in political and economic challenges, as countries within the Horn of Africa struggle to accommodate the influx of displaced individuals. In some cases, entire communities may be forced to relocate inland or even to neighboring countries, where they may face additional challenges in adapting to new environments and economies. Despite these challenges, a new ocean may also offer new opportunities for human settlement and economic development. Coastal cities and new ports could emerge, opening up trade routes and creating opportunities for fishing industries. New infrastructure could be built to support the growing population, and the exploitation of geothermal energy in the Afar region could provide a sustainable power source for future development. The creation of a new world. The birth of a new ocean in the Afar Rift is a monumental event in Earth's geological history. While it may take millions of years for the full transformation to occur, the effects will ripple across the globe, influencing not only the local climate, but the fabric of life on Earth. This new ocean will reshape the African continent, driving changes in climate, ecosystems, agriculture, and human societies. The region will undoubtedly face significant challenges in the coming centuries, but it will also stand as a reminder of Earth's dynamic nature and ability to constantly evolve. As tectonic plates continue to shift and the waters of the Indian Ocean pour into the rift, a new world is emerging, a world that will change the course of history for generations to come. How humanity responds to this transformation will determine whether the opportunities of this new ocean can be harnessed for the benefit of the region and the world at large. The dawn of a new ocean. The story of Africa's new ocean is one of awe and wonder, a testament to the unrelenting power of tectonic forces. From the gaping fissures of the Afar Desert to the fiery eruptions of Erta Ali, the African continent is being torn apart by forces beyond human control. We are witnessing the birth of a new ocean, an event that will reshape not only Africa, but the entire planet. Yet, this is a story that defies easy explanations. Despite decades of research, scientists still struggle to understand the forces driving this rift. Why is it happening so quickly? What triggered this tectonic acceleration? And what will happen next? The mystery of Africa's new ocean continues to baffle and intrigue, a geological puzzle waiting to be solved. But one thing is certain: the Earth is alive, restless, and constantly evolving. As Africa's new ocean slowly takes shape, it serves as a powerful reminder of our planet's ever-changing nature. It's a story that began millions of years ago and will continue for millions more. A story of creation and destruction, of land and sea, of continents drifting apart, and of oceans being born. This is the dawn of a new ocean, and we are privileged to witness it. What do you think about the birth of Africa's new ocean? Will this geological phenomenon change the future of our planet? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more exciting discoveries and stories from around the world.